everyone, to another episode of the Adeptus podcast. My name is DK Diamantes, his name is Bricky, and Warhammer 40k. But before we get into that, if you enjoyed today's episode of the podcast, head over to the Patreon, patreon.com/AdeptusRidiculous, where you can get access to our bloopers, Discord. $15 tier gets you all of the posters, $20,000 on the Patreon, and I will do a fantasy episode on the Skaven for Bricky. Patreon.com/AdeptusRidiculous. Speaking of Bricky...
Hi, it's me. I'm Bricky. I'm not going to shill too much today because we have a sponsor. Goodbye.
A very good day to you all. I would like to thank today's sponsor of the video, Raycon earbuds. Raycon are fantastic. I own them. DK owns them as well, which you will be hearing about very shortly if Shai didn't cut that out of the video. And when you pick one of these up, you are getting the same, if not better quality earbuds for half the price. Raycon themselves don't outsource their design. Their team is cut from the crop of people like Bose, Peloton. You're able to get a pair of these things and often a spare for less than the cost of regular earbuds. And right now they have tons of payment plan options, things to make it easier for you, including payment programs that only go to $18 a month. They're also really handy for people like me who go to the gym almost every day. So being both water and sweat resistant is very, very good because I sweat a lot. Speaking of gym, the noise isolation of the earbuds is also very handy when things start to get a bit loud. I gotta, get in the zone. And there are multiple customizable sound profiles for exactly just the kind of stuff I want to listen to. And if you would like to pick up quality earbuds for not only a fantastic price, but also 15% off, you can go ahead and go down in the description to buyraycon.com/Adric to claim that offer now. Again, that is buyraycon.com/Adric for 15% off your order. Link in the description. Thank you very much for sponsoring this video, Raycon. And let's talk about funny Inquisitor man doing Inquisitor things.
And we're back. Damn, that was a good sponsor. Damn, that guy who did that ad, he's really cool and everything is awesome.
I certainly stand behind insert product here.
It's Raycon.
I certainly stand behind Raycon. I actually have a pair of Raycons. They are quite nice.
They are actually pretty good. The all memes aside, since obviously as we're recording this we can't see what's going on.
Yeah. I actually have a pair. It's not one that was given to me. It's just I've had them for like 3 years.
Let's go. He's a customer.
Yeah.
But we're back. Hello. Good day.
Howdy.
We kept our heads.
Oh yes, we kept our heads about ourselves. Yep,
Quite a drastic difference in overall quality. The Ferrus Manus and Iron Hands episodes aren't they?
Well, I mean, they're both pretty good quality, but the Iron Hands are way more interesting. It is very true.
I guess I meant quality of lore. I mean,
yeah.
Naturally, we have a very low bar of quality.
A little bit.
So
I was thinking, why does Ferrus Manus not like driving?
Why?
He's afraid of getting cut off. I can't do it. Not again.
That's actually pretty good. And that's I haven't heard that one before.
Not again. Not again.
What's the Mr. Incredible meme? Was like, I'm not strong enough.
And he's just like fully depressed in the corner. Yeah.
Why is Ferrus Manus have a fear of barbers?
Because he's already had enough of a close shave.
Because they take a little off the top.
Too much off the top, right?
Yeah, they both work out.
Boy, that Reddit/Discord server is going to hate us.
Hey, you know what? We'll file that away into the large canister of fan groups that don't like us for X or Y reason. For not covering their model soldier lore good enough or enough.
The cartoon file cabinet that just opens and it never stops.
I like the Bruce Almighty filing cabinet.
Yes, exactly. Yeah.
I'm not one for blasphemy, but that's what made me laugh.
Mm-hmm. Boy, we are just stacking them up. We are collecting them all.
Speaking of blasphemy.
Uh-oh.
Today, now, do you know what the words I'm going to say are?
Something heretical, I'm sure.
I was going to say this is going to be a short episode, but this time it actually might. I'm aiming for 45 minutes.
X
to doubt.
Yeah, I am X.
All right.
We'll see about that.
We will see about that. Here's your quote. Are you ready?
Oh no, nope, I'm not, because we're already past the realm of stuff that I knew was coming. So,
that's Ferris Mass didn't know what was coming.
Well, he saw it coming. It's just he couldn't stop it.
That's true. He did see it coming. All right. There is no place for the weak-willed or hesitant. Only by firm action and resolute faith will mankind survive. No sacrifice is too great, no treachery too small. Liber Doctrina Ordo Hereticus.
Oh wow! So this isn't actually heretical. This is like a group that is very loyalist and very not chaos.
Some may question your right to destroy 10 billion people. Those who understand know that you have no right to let them live.
Oh, I'm gonna like this episode, whatever they are. Well, I mean, you said it was said by an Ordo Hereticus, so is it just some like Xenos killing Ordos that we're talking about?
How? What? Why would the Ordo Hereticus be killing Xenos?
Oh no! I mean, just like heretical chaos infected traitors, gene stealer cults, shit like that.
No.
Oh, well, then it's some faction that I got no guess on. Tell me what it is. Why don't you
cry about it, Lizard GIF? It's nothing like that. It's a nice simple episode on one of 40K's most commonly utilized things, Exterminatus.
Oh, it's just an episode on popular uses of the Exterminatus?
Like I said, it's going to be a shorter one. It's Exterminatus is. I feel like Exterminatus is one of those things that like Jedi in Star Wars, where post Order 66 stuff, like they're actually really rare, and it's like kind of a crazy thing to see one. But in media, it's used all the time because they're cool.
Oh yeah, like
I think Exterminatus
one of the first things I think I heard about in 40K was like Exterminatus, or like, oh, there's heresy there, Exterminatus, and everybody's screaming Exterminatus. So I kind of figured throughout 40K there it's happened a bunch. Here's looking at you, Dark Angels fans, right? Because the Lion wanted to do a little bit of the old Exterminatus on Gilliman's mother.
I don't think he wasn't trying to Exterminatus the planet. He was just trying to like detonate the city.
Oh, okay. Also, I realized that was kind of a decent your mom joke. Like, oh yeah, I'm gonna Exterminatus your mother. Ooh yeah, Inadvertently, mom.
If it said no, I disagree. Cry about it. You're gonna murder my mom. Like it's not even that.
I'm gonna murder that.
I mean, this is pre-waking up Lion. This is Captain Genocide we're talking about.
Yeah, like super Captain Genocide. So I mean, he might.
Nah, cry about it. But no, today is a simple one. Was talking about Exterminatus, a relatively rare occurrence in 40K. But when it comes to any sci-fi, anything, blowing up a planet is always just kind of the cool thing. It's just kind of cool. It's a commonly used thing. It's neat in whatever reason.
Like the Death Star.
Like the Death Star. God, yeah, exactly. I don't know why I even think about that. I even made a Star Wars reference earlier.
Or for all of you youngsters, it's the planet killer ray gun that's on those Star Destroyers in the last Rise of Skywalker?
Yeah, you got it. I audibly laughed in the theater when I saw that, and people looked at me.
Overcompensating much there, Emperor guy? Mm-hmm.
But so Exterminatus is, of course, is the name of it in High Gothic, is an action ordered by the highest authorities to destroy an entire planetary body, I suppose, and all life upon its world. It is only, of course, taken in extremely specific and extreme circumstances where there is a genuine event for the entire planet to be no longer worth the strategic value of it, and the issue of whatever is going on the planet might end up spreading to other worlds.
Yep.
It is like NIDS. It is only ever used as a last resort, unless you're a certain Cryptman guy. And
That's true. He was doing it just whatever. You're not going to give me a celebration? Exterminatus.
He is the monument to all your sins. You ever think about that in the terms of NIDS, like the Flood in Halo, the Gravemind spoke in like poems and riddles? Kind of a cool like contradiction where you have the giant, disgusting worm biological creature talking like a philosopher thing. It's kind of neat.
Yeah, it's cool. Yeah, I dig it.
But yes, the Exterminatus is a last resort, and it is a very rarely used thing. Now, you could probably count tens to hundreds of Exterminatus, but in a thing worth 1 million planets, it doesn't really end up being much.
And over the span of like, when was the first Exterminatus? And there have been like, 10 over the course of 10,000 years or something. So
probably during like Great Crusade-ish era, maybe a little bit before that is when it was definitely more often. Shai has a great point here, which is examples the wider public might know. In the Space Marine game, they refused to exterminate the planet because they produced Titans on it, despite being almost entirely overtaken by orcs.
Because that's a Forge world, and Forge worlds are stupid important. You can't just things have to go really, really wrong for them to exterminate a Forge world that's making Titans.
I must admit, the Forge world they were on too is Graia, and that's like a really important one.
Oh, even more so.
That's like a main Forge world, so there's no way they were going to do that.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, as well. Dark Tide also same deal, but of course they don't want to do that because they need the tanks that Atoma Prime produces. But also, I don't think the Nurgle infection on Dark Tide is really spread enough. Even so, like it may be on the major hive city, but I don't know if it's really worth like destroying the planet. Yeah. It's bad, but it's not like Exterminatus level bad. Even if it didn't produce tanks.
Yeah, it's almost like you could almost quarantine the area that's been infected by Nurgle and save the rest of the planet.
Like, I'm quarantine Nurgle.
Yeah, well,
they could try
as best you can. You can try.
Yeah, you could definitely
try. You might not
try.
succeed, but it's definitely not at Exterminatus levels yet.
It's in reality a good portion of this might just be discussing the difference between when Exterminatus is usable and when it is not. As much as the Imperium is a backwards, ridiculous, illogical regime, if money and resources talk.
Oh yeah.
And if a planet is important to produce really anything, ore, steel, weapons, tanks, even just bodies, guardsmen for the tithe, it is a strategic asset. Not to mention, in the overarching idea of the galaxy, while there are an unreasonably large amount of planets, there are a very, very minute amount of them that are actually habitable without massive terraforming, and even then. And so arguably, there's a good chance that completely rendering an entire planet uninhabitable is just not only terrible from a strategic location, but just not great from an expansion idea. Yeah. Humans breed like rats, like flies in 40K. They're a horde army, for God's sake.
I thought you were just going to go with rabbits, but sure. The creepy crawly insects, the larva to maggot to fly. Sure, yeah.
Hey, I mean, humanity spreads like a fire. They go everywhere.
It does. Once we are capable of like reliable space travel, we are going to colonize the universe.
We're going to be moving quick.
Oh yeah, and it's going to be like we're like, oh yeah, it's going to be explorers. No, it's going to be big corporations. Right? It's going to be like Microsoft is going to send a rocket to Saturn just so they can colonize the hell out of it and make the biggest dollary dues out of anybody.
Wayland Yutani Corporation.
Exactamundo. Yep, bring that alien back alive.
Tachyon Incorporated. Yeah, of course.
Humans are expendable. The crew is expendable.
Those that can order an Exterminatus generally do so when it is a couple specific reasons. One, the heretical cult is spreading down there at such an insane speed.
It is literally can't stop it.
You gotta cut it out quick because it's growing at a rate that is ungodly fast.
Yeah, you gotta cut the tumor.
It is just like infested with orcs. Like the entire planet is orcs. There are no humans remaining. I mean, even if there were some humans remaining, they would still kill them. But even so, yeah. What was that old 4chan thing? I think it was like 40 quintillion humans. Orc presence low. There are still orcs.
There are still orcs. There are more guardsmen, or there are more soldiers than the weight of the planet, and yet the orcs remain.
There are also things like nids, where the tier nids have eaten all biomatter on the entire planet to the point where it has become a barren wasteland anyway, so you might as well get rid of it.
Yep. You might as well get rid of the nids on there so they don't just like a fire, they don't just like hop the road and get to another resource and you're screwed out of 2 planets.
And then, of course, there was also the situation of warp rifts. A warp rift, a tear is opening up on the planet and the demons are getting through and the tear is opening larger and larger and it's like, nope, gotta get rid of it.
Yeah, gotta blow it.
There's a good quote here that actually it's on. It was in Luton's video on Exterminatus many years ago as well. But it was interesting. It says, "Call them what you will, sirens or enslavers. Just one witch, unsanctioned, caused the destruction of Hive Scorpius when one of those things used her brain as a gateway to this world. Within 3 days." The entire Hive's population was reduced to drooling mind slaves. Within 3 weeks, an entire continent was at war. And all because the governor thought his family should be exempt from the Psyker Cull and refused to give his daughter to the black ships.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, those are the enslavers. We chatted about them a little bit. They're like a non-chaos warp creature. Mm-hmm. That just kind of exists in the warp and takes over people's minds.
Oh boy, that's some Mind Flayer stuff right there.
I think it actually is a little bit based on the Mind Flayer.
I mean, Mind Flayer is a very, very popular character idea, I guess.
This is GW we're talking about too, so.
True, but I mean, like, I feel like every fantasy game has had some variation of the Mind Flayer. Like, literally every Final Fantasy game has had a Mind Flayer, and they all suck because they cause mass confusion.
That is very true. Yeah. But the enslavers are, because, you know, the warp has a realm of chaos, but it is not all chaos, and there are creatures that exist in the warp, and that would be one of them.
In the night. Yeah.
Ooh.
That's a Sinatra song?
Is it?
Oh, sounds like it.
Whatever. But,
it could be.
But whatever the reason being, the planet has been deemed unfit to live. Mm-hmm. And Exterminatus is to be carried out by many means. And the people who can issue an Exterminatus order are very high-ranking Imperial admirals. I originally thought it was only the Inquisition, but I'm actually wrong. There's a few things you can. Very, very high-ranking Imperial admirals. Think like a Lord Admiral. The Adeptus, like high-ranking members of the Adeptus Astartes, particularly certain Death Watch kill teams, are one of the ones that can offer this kind of solution. Primarchs, of course, but those are a rarity nowadays.
Well, they're coming back into style.
That's true.
Left and right.
On both sides.
Unfortunately, on both sides. Yep.
And lastly, of course, we have the fully fledged member of the Imperial Inquisition. Those are, I believe, the only, besides the highest ranking member of the Astra Militarum or Navis Imperialis, aka the Imperial Navy, I don't think any other regular humans can do this outside of a fully fledged Inquisitor. And even them, it is looked under with heavy scrutiny because there's even an order specifically dedicated on the use of Exterminatus to make sure it's not overly used and like you're judged if you use it too much. And there is a problem. Like there are Inquisitors and there are High Inquisitors and there are Lord Inquisitors, and they will look at you and be like, "Hey, knock it off.
Stop that. You're using it too much. We don't need all that genocide." Also, so like when one of these high-ranking humans decides, okay, it's Exterminatus time, they don't have to have like a council with the other the other people that can execute Exterminatus. It's just, what do they send in, like a doom scroll to Terra and be like, Exterminatus this one? Or like, how exactly does the process go?
So often when a person orders Exterminatus, they obviously don't have the resources to do so alone, because an Inquisitor might have their own ship they fly around in and stuff, but they do not have like the weapons to do an Exterminatus.
It's not like they have an unmaker cannon on every ship just in case they need to Exterminatus a planet.
So naturally, they will need to grab either maybe Astartes or most likely often just a large fleet of the Imperial Navy in order to do so. Though I don't much know if there is any kind of council for it. Like, I'm pretty sure once an Inquisitor says, I am exterminating this planet, like, the deed is done. But obviously, then, they might have issues with the people they're telling to do it. Maybe the High Admiral says no, which is normally not a good idea to do to an Inquisitor.
Yeah, I mean, who says no to an Inquisitor?
Well, there is a certain
to tell the tale.
There is a certain point when, like, you are the High, like, Admiral and you are on your flagship and you're sitting there as the captain and you tell the Inquisitor no. And the Inquisitor is standing there, but they're not dumb. They're not going to, like, put a bolt pistol to you. They're surrounded by, like, the captain's crew on the bridge. They're going to like beat you to death.
Yeah, that's true. I still have it in my head that Inquisitors are mostly evil, even though we did the episode and it's like, no, they're not. There are some, but they're not all evil. They're not all out there chaos heretical fools that have been tainted by the touch of chaos. Yeah.
And Inquisitors are most definitely one of the rather misunderstood factions where it's the Imperium is a pretty awful evil entity, but Inquisitors themselves being the FBI, KGB of that evil entity makes you assume that they are all like total frothing maniacs. But in reality, they're pretty intelligent. Yeah. They're still not necessarily what I would call good people, but they are still very intelligent, and they tend to at least kind of give a shit about humanity.
They're not ones to just willy-nilly pull the trigger on Exterminatus for no reason.
No, they'll execute a random citizen like candy, but
but it's the Imperium. Who wouldn't do that, right?
Yeah, that's true. But for the most part, there are certain times where Exterminatus is just overused. Shai mentioned that there are certain Space Marine chapters that were marked as traitors because they used it way too often and inappropriately.
Oh, no kidding! What chapter? Oh, it's the Crimson Sabers.
Yeah, I doubt it's a chapter you know about.
Right,
I'm positive it's
fair.
not.
I mean, it's a cool name. It's they sound, the Crimson Sabers does sound a little on the heretical side, anyway. So,
well, what about the Blood Angels, Flesh Terrors, who are very loyal?
Oh yeah, I forgot all about the yeah, okay. Well, maybe not. I don't know.
It's a whole thing.
Yeah, Blood Angels are a little kooky crazy with that Black Rage stuff, anyway. So it doesn't count.
Fair enough. Anyway, the more interesting thing that many people like to discuss when it comes to Exterminatus is the methods. How does one doom an entire world? Well,
giant F-off cannon.
There is a couple of that.
Hell yeah, brother.
The first one, and the arguably the simplest, maybe not the most common, but definitely the simplest one, is orbital bombardment.
Was that Infinite and the Divine was an orbital bombardment, right?
Oh, maybe. I think you might be right because it wasn't. I don't think it was a cyclonic torpedo. I think they raised the surface.
Cyclonic torpedo. That's the one they used in which book?
Third book, Knights Lords.
Yeah, they blew up a chunk of a moon or something to hit the ship or something, right?
Yes. So cyclonic torpedoes is our third this idea, but orbital bombardment is the simplest and bluntest. It is take a fleet, point your guns at the planet, and fire until you are out of ammo.
Fire everything!
Fire everything.
Everything.
It's like you battle barge are assigned this continent. Go to town.
Yeah, and I got to imagine orbital bombardment takes a little while because, like, that's still an entire damn planet. So you really got to lay down just consistent fire on that planet to just reduce it to rubble.
This was the method that actually got the Nostromo destroyed.
Oh,
Speaking of Night Lords, Conrad Kurz rolled up, fired upon the planet with his entire fleet, and eventually under the crust of the planet heaved and gave way from the molten core, and the planet shattered and cracked.
Yep.
And that was that.
And lots of pieces are still floating around to be mined, apparently.
Yes, because the ore of Nostromo was very, very nice. That was an excellent use of Exterminatus that was not warranted in the slightest.
Oh no. Nostromo's such a peaceful, happy place.
Well, it was certainly a compliant place. It was just ran by horrible gangs, and Conrad Kurz wanted to make a point.
Yeah, and boy did he.
Boy did he.
Boy, he dotted that exclamation point.
I remember the part from the book when Talos describes, he said it took hours just to constantly fire upon the planet, and they never answered a single distress beacon.
Well, yeah, their intent was to destroy the planet. Of course they're not gonna answer the distress beacons. Like, you know, what are they gonna say? The answer would be like, yeah, get fucked.
There was actually a nice little part in the the Conrad Kurz book of just him, his Primarch book, where Sevatar teleported onto another ship that wasn't firing and was like, start firing. And then they said no. They were going to refuse. And then they died, of course.
Of course.
But the Night Lords refused because they were probably, gangers who lived there on Nostromo and were like, I don't want to kill my home.
Yep. I'm sure it didn't take Sevatar long to kill the people on that ship either, because it's Sevatar.
No, he's first captain, Mr. Leader of the Atrementar, Sevatar.
Yeah, I was gonna say he'd like a hot knife through butter.
Yeah. It's actually a nice video that Shai posted on the Exterminatus cinematic from Armada. That'll be probably the third, maybe the third method that happens. But next up, after just the classic orbital bombardment, we have virus bombs.
Oh, the good old, the classic 40K virus bomb. Let's go.
It is a also known as the Life Eater virus. It is just such a crude and like it's like you watching someone invent new means of torture. It's like, wow,
yeah,
look at that ingenuity. That's awful.
Mm-hmm. I was about to say, I remember that one picture that Shai showed me. It was a long time ago when I was asking what the life-eating virus was, and Shai posted that picture, and I'm like, oh god, it's horrible. It's Jesus. And yeah,
it is all bad. Yes, so the Life Eater virus is quickly spread to destroy all organic cellular structures it infects, reducing all planetary life of any kind of biological matter, that is plants, people, etc., into this organic sludge that is completely indistinct from anything else. A person, a tree, a fly will all turn into the exact same sludge that produces an organic gas as a byproduct that is highly flammable.
Oh, wow. All right.
So you basically fire your virus bomb onto the planet, reduce everything there to sludge, and then you light it on fire.
Oh, man, that is... Although, once you do that, couldn't you... Well, because it's 40K. They've got to have some technology that could, like, re-terraform the planet once you've literally killed off everything on the surface with this Life Eater virus. Couldn't you theoretically terraform it and get the planet back at least and resettle someone on it?
A little bit, yeah. Though, I mean, at the same... It's actually kind of an interesting thing. This was used in the Heresy on Isvan 3. Remember when they sent all the loyal people from the Traitor Legions down to the surface?
Oh, yeah, that's right.
This Life Eater virus killed 16 billion people in a few minutes.
Wow, that is
in
one
minutes.
hell of a kill streak. Oof.
Kilimanjaro.
Wow. Kilimanjaro.
Kill-tacular.
Kill-tacular.
Killionaire.
Yeah, what does the announcer say when you hit the billion, right?
Billion-najaro.
Billion-najaro.
Billionaire.
Well done.
Social credit deducted. But yeah, so in that one, they killed 16 billion people in minutes, but it left the planet completely barren of life, but habitable because it doesn't really change. I mean, despite the fact that you basically set the atmosphere on fire, it will like go its course, right?
Yeah.
The problem is that some Space Marines on the ground, especially, were able to survive by creating these little airproof shelters,
or like being a bunker.
Right, or being very deep underground. Okay. So it's a great way to annihilate the entire surface, but not as good if you're very far underground or you have some means. Right. This would be probably pretty great. Well, I would say it'd be pretty great against Tyranids, but the Nids are so hyper adaptable that this might not even work on them.
True. Yeah.
But like
if
orcs,
they've seen it before, yeah.
Yeah, but like orcs, for example, like orcs wouldn't probably have a whole lot of underground bunkers. They would just be all on the surface. So you could kind of just wipe clean most of the planet's surface.
Yeah.
Also,
unless they dug in and planted their orky fungus in the ground.
True, but orky fungus is biological, so perhaps it would just
that's true.
Burn up. It's a very quick method and probably not a common one because it's so I actually don't know why it's not that common. Maybe because it's not as effective against like underground or people who are huddled and you need to root out every single last heretic.
Yeah, you need to get those bunkers, and especially with like why can't I remember the names of the books we've read? Like the Gene Stealer one, they were like, weren't they dug in pretty deep into the ground?
Oh, Day of Ascension?
Yeah. So it's like if you know you're dealing with like Nids or like Gene Stealers have taken over, there's a fair chance that they've really bunkered in and they've got some like underground tunnels that maybe you don't know about or the gas can't get to. And then it's like, well, great, we wasted a virus bomb and we didn't even get them all.
That could be true. Yeah. I think it just really depends on what is the thing you want to kill.
Definitely. Depends on why you're exterminatusing the planet.
The next one is the Cyclonic Torpedo. This is the one done in the Voidstalker book.
Yeah, this is the one where I was like, how are you going to fire a torpedo and break off a chunk of a planet? And you were like, dude, it's a cyclonic torpedo. And I'm like, dude, you're speaking Greek to me.
Yeah. Tzatziki sauce.
Yeah,
it's really,
Ricky.
It's really tasty.
I mean, tzatziki sauce is great. Mwah, chef's kiss, but...
It would suck that it would go away during a virus bomb.
Oh, yeah, that would be awful.
But a cyclonic torpedo is just a really big bomb. There is a wide variety. You've got the atmospheric incinerator torpedo is one of the fun ones. There are that one, it destroys the entire like biosphere. Yeah. It is a thermonuclear reaction that ignites all the oxygen in the atmosphere.
Yum.
Sets the air on fire.
Wow. Yeah, that'll do, pig. That'll do.
This the cyclonic torpedo is this planet needs to die completely. It will never be habitable again.
Yeah. Okay.
Often it can be fired and burrowed deep into the planet's crust, in which it'll detonate in its molten center and heave the entire planet apart, having continents ruptured and fly away from the planet with the explosion.
Jeez. Yeah, that'll do it. That'll get rid of your planet problem. Mm-hmm.
There are like plasma bombardment variations of it. Sometimes, Shai makes a good point. It's often used against Necron tomb worlds because a virus bomb and atmosphere incinerator bomb won't do anything because, oh no, the oxygen is on fire. Lamau, I don't breathe.
Oh wait, didn't they Exterminatus a planet in one of the Necron books we read too? And it was like one of those atmosphere destroying bombs?
Not quite. I think you're thinking of Twice Dead King, and at the end of the book, they like leave and they do like a turbo fart move, and they just incinerate.
Yeah,
the
that
planet.
one. Yeah. Okay.
That was a Necron thing though, and Necrons have like 40,000 million Exterminatus abilities technically.
Well, they have the map that you can just touch, and then just the planet's gone. Where'd the planet go? I don't know. I touched the button.
The Celestial Orrery. Yeah, it's a pretty silly one. But there's a lot of that kind of jazz. Cyclonic torpedoes are the very simple one. They're just a really big bomb, and once it goes into the planet, it tends to just crack it, heave it apart, reduce it into nothing but roiling earthquakes, looking like that Roland Emmerich 2012 movie, or San Andreas Fault disaster movie, or something like that.
Mm-hmm. Remember when people genuinely thought 2012 was going to be the end of the world?
Listen, man, Doomsday is fun to talk about in theory. It's like the zombie apocalypse where you always want to think of yourself as the badass who survives and not one of the millions.
Nice.
But, then Doomsday gets close and then like COVID happens and it becomes a little too real. And then you see what happens to society.
Yeah, a little bit. But I mean, 2012 was like, oh no, the Mayan calendar ended. It's like, yeah, that's what calendars do. It's the end of the world. Look, bro. Our world doesn't end every December when the calendar ends. It just rolls back. It's not the end of the world.
Listen, bro, the Mayans were like removing kidneys and eating them from people. Like we're good.
That's true. Also, if they could see the future so well, why didn't they predict Cortez?
I don't get it.
That's okay. Don't worry about it. Just what's the next Exterminatus, Bricky?
I want to know what it is.
The Spanish.
Cortez?
Killed them?
My history is bad. I'm sorry.
That's okay. Mine is too. I probably have the wrong name anyway, because I haven't been to high school history and,
Didn't see that coming.
I was about to be like, in this many years, and I was like, oh boy, how badly do I really want to date myself right now? Not enough. So Exterminatus, Bricky, huh?
Yeah. So there's a second type of Necron torpedo. I was reading the Necron Tomb World thing. I'm sorry. There was another type of cyclonic torpedo called the two-stage cyclonic torpedo, which is often used for the Necron Tomb Worlds, as Shai mentioned. The first stage is some kind of like melt-a-charge that is supposed to be able to get through the planet's crust immediately. And the second one is a plasma charge that goes deep in the planet and then destabilizes the core, generally having the planet just kind of explode.
Okay.
Like not quite Death Star level with like the funny little particles and stuff, but genuinely like putting a little firecracker inside of an egg.
Gotcha. So the two stages are one, it just burrows its way deep into the planet, and then stage two just cracks it from the center. Yeah.
Yeah, because in a sense, if the first cyclonic torpedo type, you can just smash it into the surface and it'll do what it needs to do. This one's like, okay, we got to get under. We gotta burrow to the core.
Especially if it's like a Necron tomb world, right? Because you don't know what could be on the surface and just how much you really need to punch through. So I guess you would really need that first stage to have a little bump to it. Have that melt-a-charge just melts through anything it touches, right?
Also, the Necrons are resilient as hell, so.
Oh, well, yeah, that too. You gotta be sure. Like, because even if the planet blows up, if, like, a Necron could still technically survive in space. They don't need to breathe, so they could still be floating around and alive, I guess.
That'd be a miserable existence.
Oh, yeah, that'd be a terrible existence. Just wandering around, floating in space until you hit something.
I feel like some of the Necron nobles probably would have the ability to like hide in their own mind for an extended period of time until they get notified of something going on.
Oh yeah, I bet that's a thing. Sure.
Anywho, there is, other than that, various other kinds of Exterminatus that are just side things. Okay. For example, way back when Lord Commander Solar Macarius was around, there was the destruction of a world in which he asked the tech priest to change the orbit of the moon.
No kidding. Really?
They did the Mass Effect 3 or Mass Effect 2 Arrival DLC method where
they strapped a bunch of rockets to it and just
they had big plasma drives to reposition the moon to a different orbital path, and then the moon went slam.
Splat. Oh wow, they did do the Arrival. Oh, that's great. I love that. That's so goofy, but just still so deviant. I love it.
What do you, what are you doing? What do you do with this situation?
I die.
Your mom.
Your mom. Yeah, I am in. I'm at the top of that picture. In your mom. Yeah. Yep. Yeah.
Yes, good old, of course, Mr. Kyle, Ezekiel.
Oh, yeah, Ezekiel. He threw the Blackstone Fortress?
Mm-hmm. He exterminated the planet by just yeeting that at it.
Yeah, that'll do. God, those Blackstone Fortresses are massive. Like, I oftentimes forget just how massive those things are compared to a planet, and it's like, damn.
I really like this meme I saw. It's like, what do you do in this situation?
Oh, yeah, and that one? Yeah.
Just a big skeleton.
It's a big, spooky, scary skeleton,
There is other situations in which some, like a Navy, have used nuclear weapons to rad bomb the entire atmosphere to make it completely uninhabitable. And then, the AdMech have done that before, and then they take over the world so that they can live on it and not be disturbed, as we mentioned before.
I'm surprised that's not the most popular one, because the Imperium seems to love irradiating their own planets past the brink of oblivion and be like, oh, hooray, now it's a radiated death world. And it's like, what? You have to do that so often.
Well,
is every planet an irradiated death world?
I mean, that's actually, I think, a little bit more on the AdMech side of things. The AdMech love to legalize nuclear bombs.
Fair enough. I mean, and they would, because like you said, it's like once they've become kind of all metal, it's like, oh yeah, who cares if it's irradiated? I am the metal. I'm a robot.
AdMech and radiation go like mac and cheese. They just love their radiation abilities.
Yeah.
Other than that, there are also other kinds of things. Sometimes depends on the planet. Sometimes if the orbital like blockade might be too strong, when the Astartes want to do some kind of exterminatus, they'll actually go to the surface with a bomb, like with a plasma reactor bomb, and they will go there, overload it, set it up, and then leave. I think that's actually the main way Astartes do exterminatus is they deploy a strike force onto the planet, get in a key position, place the bomb, and then get out.
Huh. For Astartes, I guess I just figured they had something a little more, I don't want to say complicated, but like I would have figured they would have had like, oh, this is the holy weapon of our father, only to be used in this specific scenario, and like it's like this giant gun or something, but it's like, no, it's like Astartes, just go down to the planet, screw this generator, and then just go. And it's like, that seems so, I don't know.
I mean, that kind of sounds like Astartes to me.
Yeah, I guess.
A hyper strike force that goes down, and because Astartes are always like small strike force teams. They're very like,
true.
What is it? Specialized.
Yeah, I guess. I don't know. I just expected something more special because Astartes. They're Spice Marines. I don't know. I thought there was something bigger for them to have.
I mean, I don't know.
Make the generator faulty on the planet and then come on back. And it's like
no. They take a bomb and they go onto the planet and they plant a bomb basically.
Yeah, but like I said, it just seems like I don't know. It seems like they should have like the arm of the Emperor cannon or something. I don't know. That's
more of an Imperial Navy thing, I think. You have like a 200,000 person cruise ship with their giant gun named the Bane of Traitors, and it
takes 100 people to load it.
Yeah, and there's entire gang wars about the gun loading crews, like we've discussed, and then they blow up the entire planet. It feels like what was the name of that giant ship they raided in the first Night Lord's book? What was it, like Hand of the Emperor, or like the really big ship, right? Yeah, I feel like that would be the kind of thing where you have a gigantic gun that would be the Emperor's right hand is the name of it.
I don't know why that's what I expected for the Astartes. It's something like that. That's just like this larger than life thing, because the Astartes are in 40K to the general populace. The Astartes are larger than life. Oh, they're superheroes. I don't know.
They certainly could. I mean, I'm sure there is. I think they often just like the plasma thing.
Okay.
I mean, it would not surprise me. Oh yeah, it would not surprise me in the slightest if you had like a Blood Angel guy and their main battle barge had a gun that was Sanguinius's Retribution or something. Ooh, and then it just goes skadoosh.
Skadoosh. Planet. Yep. There you go. I like it.
You could honestly spend like hours making up ridiculous 40K names for things.
And they'd all make sense. The more ridiculous they'd got, it'd be like, oh, what? Doesn't that exist? Surely someone has that.
The Bane of Traitors.
I bet that actually exists, though.
It probably does. I'm going to go Mankind's Revenge.
I bet that exists, too.
His holy weapons of war, etc., etc.
Oh, yeah. It's so easy to go overboard with 40K weapon names.
It's great.
Mm-hmm.
Anywho, I mean, that really is the end of Exterminatus. Like I said, it was going to be a shorter chapter, but the overarching which stuff they use, how they use it, when they use it, where it's used, all that stuff is rather interesting, despite the fact that it's extremely rare. But they love putting it in games just because they like watching a planet blow up.
Oh, yeah. In games and in audiobooks, I'm sure Exterminatus gets used a lot more than, historically it gets used. Like, historically, it's been, like, every 10,000 years you get an Exterminatus or two or something, and we've seen, like,
way more.
4 or 5 in popular media already.
No, way more.
Games and
way more than that. Way more than every 10,000 years. Good.
Well,
don't forget, it's been 10,000 years since the heresy.
Oh, yeah, maybe every 1,000 years or something. I don't know.
But maybe like every 3.
Oh.
Maybe not even like every 3.
That's more common than I thought.
It is, but like, a million worlds.
Million worlds, yeah, that's fair.
It's
and they're constantly at war with everybody.
The Imperium likes to pick its battles poorly.
Yeah, they sure do.
I would honestly be shocked if they're still fighting the Eldar at this point, because I wouldn't.
I mean, what are the Eldar doing right now? Current 40K timeline, what are the Eldar up to?
Trying to bring back trying to save their souls from Slaanesh.
Yeah, but they're not in any big, because they're always doing that. That's like always their thing, right?
It's Yvrain and like the Incarn and the God of Death and trying to the Inari and figuring that crap out.
Oh, okay.
I don't know. It's elf stuff.
Yeah, but they're not doing anything with the Imperium, and the Imperium isn't actively going after them or anything, so.
I don't believe they're fighting the Imperium currently.
Okay. Cool.
What's this? Shai said, I was thinking of Xenos variants of Exterminatus. Nids just eat everything. Yep, that's very true. Yep. Necrons have the Celestial Orrery. And also, like, Necrons probably just have weapons in general on their ships.
Oh, yeah. I'm sure they have big F-off cannons, too.
Chaos can or do a ritual and call a warp storm that consumes the planet or even sends it into the warp. That is very true.
Mm-hmm.
Orcs use giant rocks. Yeah.
Wait, really?
Oh, sure. Orc will take like a giant rock and probably just put engines on it and hit the big red button and then watch as it hits the planet.
That's a big rock.
It's orcs.
That is orcs. I mean, sure. I mean, if they strap enough rockets to a giant asteroid going back to a rival, you know, sure you could. Yeah.
Shai said, Tau do orbital bombardment, for example.
Oh yeah, I could see the Tau being able to orbital bombardment Exterminatus a planet. Sure.
There was actually, she said, Eldar and Votan don't seem to have anything specific, but oh my god, Shai.
Oh my god, those are great. Man, we need an episode on just these things at some point, because those are ridiculous. But I also absolutely love them.
I will say there is one thing the Votan do have, and is one of their grand ships. I don't know how big that planet is. I'm assuming it might be a small piece of rock because it looks like it's about to be mined. Because, rock and stone.
Oh, yeah, rock and stone. Yeah, that definitely looks like something that would be able to very easily Exterminatus a planet.
Donut ship. Is
that canon, or is it what is that?
Oh no, that is canon. That is official GW art.
Gun?
No. Oh no, I thought you meant canon like one N.
Oh no, I was like canon.
No, that is
good God, you've got to be kidding me.
That is a gigantic ship. It looks like it's actually a mining vessel, and the thing it's going to eat the rock.
Oh wow. So it's going to Unicron the planet and just for the resources.
I was thinking the same thing. Shai.
Unicron?
No, what Shai said. I was thinking the same thing.
Destiny. Oh.
Yeah, the Leviathan.
I was hoping we were going to nerd out a little bit. And
like Destiny isn't a nerd out thing.
Well, I guess it is true. That
the
thing is from
Leviathan.
Destiny too? What? I never...
Yeah,
I
the raid?
Raid? Yeah.
The raid is on that thing on the top, that spire, that city on the tiny little tippity top. That's the raid.
Oh shit, really? I never knew that about Leviathan.
Yeah.
I didn't realize that's... Wow.
The Leviathan is the ship. It's the giant eater of worlds. That's why the other raid is called Eater of Worlds.
I never made that connection because I didn't terribly pay attention to raids or why they existed. That's so cool. Oh, wow, that's dope. Wow.
It's very fun. Yeah, I like the Votan one a lot because it's just rock and stone fun stuff.
Mm-hmm. I dig that.
Anywho, that is it for today. Exterminatus, these nuts. We will see you all next week for something that's probably a bit more in depth.
Yeah?
Yeah. What?
Any hints as to what it's going to be?
No.